Sanctuary Forerunner, Part 3, compiled by Shirley Jean Street and read by Wayne T. Street. Heaven and earth are closely united since Christ entered within the veil as our forerunner. The attention of every angel in glory is centered upon those striving to follow in Jesus' footsteps. 1 Peter 2:21. Are they, the angels, not all ministering spirits, sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation? Hebrews 1, verse 14. Why should we falter, by the way, and disappoint the heavenly host who are watching for us to come over the same road that our forerunner passed as a mighty conqueror over death and the grave? But let us never forget that it is a blood-stained pathway, who, when he was reviled not again. When he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to him that judges righteously. 1 Peter 2:23. We cannot follow in his footsteps in our own strength. For that reason, in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to God, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people. For in that he himself did suffer being tempted, he is able to succor them that are tempted. Wherefore, holy brethren, partakers of the heavenly calling, consider the apostle and high priest of our profession, Christ Jesus. Hebrews 2, verse 17, 18, and Hebrews 3, verse 1. In the earthly sanctuary, not only the high priest, but also common priests officiated, because it was impossible for one man to perform all the work, but it required the work performed by all the priests in the typical services to represent the work of our high priest. The work of 1 year was taken as a type of the entire work of our high priest. During the year, the priests, plural, both high priests and common priests, went always into the first tabernacle, accomplishing the service of God. This continued all the year, except one day. On that day, the service changed, and into the second apartment went the high priest alone, with blood of animal sacrifices, which he offered for himself and for the errors of the people. Hebrews 9, verses 6 and 7. These priests served unto the example and shadow of heavenly things. Hebrews 8, verse 5. When Jesus entered heaven, he went as the antitype of the earthly service God had ordained, and entered upon his work within the first veil of the heavenly sanctuary. When the typical work ordained by God in the first apartment of the earthly sanctuary had fully met its antitype, he passed through the second veil, Hebrews 9, verse 3, into the glorious apartment of the antitypical Holy of Holies. There he is to perform the marvelous service which will end in the blotting out and total destruction of the sins of the righteous, never more to be remembered by the redeemed host, nor by God himself.